Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Monsoon session of Parliament ended with a no confidence motion where Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a 2 hours, 20 minutes long speech where he attacked Congress predominantly and the India alliance. He spoke about history. He spoke about everything except for really speaking on Manipur. And for this, the opposition parties continue to take a dig at Prime Minister, saying that during his speech, he made a complete mockery of Manipur. Now, why is Prime Minister behaving in this manner? Or rather, the next question is that why is he enigmatically silent on Manipur? Is this for political advantage or for something else? Joining me now is veteran political commentator, author, and advisor to former Prime Minister VP Singh. We have Prem Shankar Jha with us. So thank you so much for joining. And so my first question to you is, how would you really see Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech during the no confidence motion? Has it really done justice to Manipur? Because that was the basic objective of the opposition. Yes.
Well, first of all, I think the objective of the opposition was just to make him speak and say what he was in his heart. And that is where I think the more important thing is not what Mr. Modi said or whom he attacked, but what he did not say. All he needed to say was one sentence, saying that I feel very sorry about what's happened in Manipur. We are doing everything we can to control it, but it is not something that I want to talk about in public all the time. We have done everything to bring it together. We brought security forces, etc., etc. And I feel very sorry. That's all he needed to say. And then he could have gone on to say whatever he wanted. He didn't do that. It's what he has not said that is important, not what he has said.
But why do you think he didn't say what he had to? Was this for some political advantage? How does he gain politically by not saying what was supposed to be said?
I don't think the question of gain and loss even arises. I mean, I don't think that even he would be unaware of the fact that that the speech has actually set him back, not given him not allowed him to retrieve ground, but that he has lost ground in this. The thing is, I think you need to look at this from the point of view of his psychology. Mr. Modi has never ever stepped back. He never ever said that he's done something wrong. He never ever admitted that something needed to be changed. When something has had to be changed, it's been done very surreptitiously. Even good changes. So it's the temperament of a man who says that the only way to act is to go forward. There is no reverse gear in Mr. Modi. There is no way of saying sorry. He's never said sorry on anything in his life. And he's quite proud of it, actually. So I think you have to take that into account, that this is not to my mind, this is not the approach with which a person claims or rules 1.4 billion people. There's something seriously wrong. I think that he needs advice on this.
But Mr. Jha, many times I feel that have really people understood what Narendra Modi is? And because he's silent at times when he shouldn't be, he speaks a lot when he shouldn't speak. Is he turning into some kind of an enigma? Because I was reading your article recently, which you wrote, and that also points to some kind of an enigma what Narendra Modi is. I would really want you to speak on that, sir.
I think that Mr. Narendra Modi absolutely has to, he has to win all the time. He's never known a setback. Whenever there have been setbacks, he's been amazing in the way that he's turned it around and made it into something which gives him political advantage. Right, starting from the Ahmedabad riots, I feel personally sure that Mr. Modi had no hand in what happened, and that he didn't intend this to happen. But that's not the issue. When it happened, he took advantage of it in order to shore up and strengthen his political position. And he was spectacularly successful, but in the worst possible way, by constantly harping on communal animosity between Hindus and Muslims in Gujarat. The same thing is happening now. I think that I personally believe that he's torn in two on Manipur. Manipur, on the one hand, is a question of Hindus versus Christians. And he does not want to be seen as coming out in favor of, in any sense of the term, or even sort of condoning what the Christians have done, or
Right.
condemning in any way what the quote-unquote Hindus have done. Now, if that is the reason why he's keeping silent, it's psychologically understandable, but politically it's suicidal.
Right.
And I think that
no, but
is
are you
basically the
saying,
reason.
but Mr. Jha, are you saying that he is looking at some kind of a political advantage by keeping quiet on Manipur, by not addressing to the problems of the minorities in Manipur? Is he looking at some political advantage?
A political advantage not in Manipur, but he feels that he needs to avoid a political disadvantage in the rest of India. Saying something that expresses sorrow about what's happened. After all, the chief minister is a BJP man. The chief minister is a Meitei. So on both counts, it would be, in a sense, a betrayal of his party and of his faith. I'm telling you what his idea probably is. It's certainly, obviously, not my idea. So that kind of feeling that I must not go step back probably started at the beginning, and then once he probably did not realize how rapidly this would swing into something that we've not had for the last 15 years. And last time also was only in Manipur, and with the Nagas more than the Kukis at that time, if you remember. But the point is that he has not had this experience, and I believe that he's made a very big mistake, and he cannot admit it.
No, but a similar kind of a silence is seen when it comes to Haryana violence as well. In what has happened in Palwal, in Gurugram, we have not heard Prime Minister speaking on that.
Well, I think that you have hit a very important point here, which there is a difference between Manipur and Haryana. As I've written in my article, Haryana was one of the places, not the only one by any means, where, in fact, a systematic attempt by the Vishwa Hindu Parishad and the Bajrang Dal to stoke communal violence, which has in order to, either make themselves sort of more, in Modi's favor, or for him. I wouldn't go so far as to say at his instructions, but the instructions of some people who think that they can gain politically with Mr. Modi by doing these things. Now, I think that Haryana, as I pointed out in my article, the entire yatra is only 3 years old. And it was planned by the VHP right from the start. The temple's been there for maybe 3,000 years, but certainly it's been there for 1,000, 2,000 years. And, I have lived in Nu because I had a farm there, for about 10 years, 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. But I knew all the villages. I saw how they interacted. There was total harmony. Nobody felt they did their own thing. I mean, religion, of course, but that's about all it was. And they went and ate in each other's homes and so on. There was never the slightest problem. So this, as I've explained in my article, there has been a systematic attempt by VHP and Bajrang Dal to stoke anger and fear in the Muslims of Nu. And what to me is more significant than what happened on the day of at the Nalhar temple, or after the Nalhar temple, is the fact that immediately afterwards, the Haryana government moved into action and has in 3 days destroyed more than 1,200 homes, restaurants, pakka, kacha, etc. Now, this cannot be done because we've suddenly discovered that this is illegal construction. 50% of all the construction in all the cities of India today is illegal, or was illegal to start with, and then was legalized afterwards. The whole of East Delhi is that. The entire whole of East Delhi was illegal. It got legalized afterwards because it was a fact. It was a done deal. So now in Nu, to then step in after these people have been living there or working there or gaining their income from there, investing there for the last two decades or more, to suddenly step in and without warning raise everything is the height of inhumanity. Not even cruelty, it's inhumanity. It's treating these people as animals. And you're doing that because you want them to be angry and you want to start. a communal conflagration. And I have a fear, I cannot say this by any means for certain, that this is something that at some level appeals to Mr. Modi, because he feels that like the past, like Ahmedabad, for example, he can turn this somehow to the advantage of himself and the BJP and win the next election.
So the next question is then, Mr. Jha,
I'm finished.
yes, but can the opposition really, solve this enigma of Modi? Can it counter Modi with this kind of an obstinate behavior, which is seen? Can really India alliance counter this at all?
India alliance does not need to counter it. India alliance just had to sit back and let Modi destroy himself, because that's what he's doing today.
So you are saying that Modi is trying to destroy himself?
Not trying to. He's trying to do the opposite. He's torn between allowing something terrible to continue because it has given him political benefits in the past, and stepping in as prime minister and doing what a prime minister should do. And the result of the conflict is that he's remained silent. But it's not a question of his trying to do something. He is actually losing out. All that the opposition needs to do is sit back and let him make these mistakes. But my worry is not that. My worry is that if there are enough of these conflicts, 3 or 4 more like this, triggered by no matter who, will be treated by the central government as an excuse for declaring an emergency in the country and quote unquote postponing the elections, as Mrs. Gandhi did in 1975, except that Mrs. Gandhi was serious when she used the word postpone, and Mr. Modi, I suspect, will not be serious. Postpone will mean disappear.
So you are saying that Modi, if these kind of violent incidents happen and happen frequently, then he might declare an emergency. And what is your biggest worry then? It's
a possibility. Look, if everything, how do you call out the army? How do you call out the army to control civilian population when the army has repeatedly said we will not fire on civilians? It's when you are able to say, look, our entire paramilitary forces are incapable of controlling this because it's happening in too many places and it's too violent. So we need your help. Then the army can't say no, because the army is committed to the saving of India.
You made an important point where you said that.
Anxiety
right
about this.
Mr. Jha, you said that opposition should not do anything, just allow Modi to respond the way he is responding.
Oh, good God, please. Minu, you said opposition should not. I would never say that. I would never. Should is a moral word. It's an admonition saying do this. Okay. Never. I don't think the opposition should continue protesting against what is being done. Continue telling Mr. Modi, look, we can't afford this. Our country can't afford this. Try to talk to him through the media.
Right.
And in a sense, the vote of no confidence was intended to do precisely that. It was intended to bring Mr. Modi to his senses. Apart from the fact that if he didn't come to his senses, it would definitely be to the opposition's advantage. Whatever their motive was, Mr. Modi had options. Option was to take up what they said, use it as an example, as an opportunity to mend bridges with Manipur, but he did the opposite, which is why I'm afraid that the road he is on will take us to a national emergency.
That's really disturbing to hear. But one last question, Mr. Jha, and then I'll wind up the interview. And that is, you feel that India Alliance and the opposition parties or the opposition groups, they are in the right direction when they are raising issues, they are protesting against what Modi government is doing? Are they on the right path?
Yes, absolutely, because that is their function in parliament, to show the country that the country is not united against the cookies, not united in condemning the Meiteis. We understand the problems, the complications. Even Mr. Modi does not. That is something you have to tell. It will be the same in Kashmir, for example. If the opposition were to reach out to Kashmiris and say, look, I think they're doing it already, as you can see from the coalitions that are being formed, that look, we are for your autonomy within the framework of the Indian Union, as it has always been. So don't worry. elections take place, governments change. Don't encourage militancy, don't encourage extremism, don't think about Pakistan. Just be patient, because time will come when all this will be over. That is the right position of the opposition. I think that they've done the right thing.
Mr. Jha, you feel that this is a gloom and doom time for India? And who looks like a ray of hope at this point of time?
It's a make or break time for the Union of India and for the idea of India as a multi-ethnic federal nation in which everyone keeps his identity and is together because it benefits them. We are a unique country. I want to tell you a personal thing. In 1994, I was at the White House with Prime Minister press his one-on-one with President Clinton. You can look it up if you like. It's in the video. You can see his expression in the slight momentary pause when he chose the word so carefully to use it. India's democracy was the silent show of the world until 10 years ago. No matter how well or badly we did in the economics, so on, we did only middling well. We didn't do very well. We missed many buses in the past, in the 60s and 70s, with our closed economy models. But the fact is, as far as politics is concerned, we had created a unique country, a modern nation state of infinite variety, where everyone felt that they had an equal and in the nationhood.
No, but Mr. Jha, Modi tries to cover up all his shortcomings, all his deficiencies by just saying one thing, and that is that, I'm going to return to power in 2024 and I will make India amongst the top 3 economies of the world. And then the story ends. So how do you really respond to a narrative like that? That's my last question.
Well,
yes.
Look, Neelu, he's made these promises. Neelu, it's up to the electorate to decide, not for me. I know he cannot do it. That everything is, the economy is wrong. The work, the US, everything means in terms of macroeconomic policy. There are a number of micros they have done which are entirely good. And I've talked about them elsewhere. I'm not going to on this. The thing is, about economic terms, I think they've done everything that they've done in the last 10 years have been wrong. Is that this is a moment when the opposition should be looking at these and saying, look, we've got to change all this. Right. And give a program. He has promised so much, Modi promised so much, and nothing. He's delivered something middle class, and within the middle class to a small group of admittedly very, very, very daring and fine entrepreneurs. They are in their own right. But that's not the issue. Is that he has not done anything for the people at large. There's much more unemployment today. There's desperation. Right. Income gaps have increased. You know all that. You've heard all that. You've said it many times. So he has not succeeded. So fresh promises, no matter what they are, will not work. But yes, the threat of dissolution or the destruction of the country is something that might still work. This is my fear.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for joining on The Federal. One appeal to the viewers who are watching this interview, subscribe to our channel, send us your feedback, and stay tuned to The Federal. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jha. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to The Federal's YouTube page for more news and updates.